Hi everyone, Samian here. I'll share the video in just a moment. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, the Family Law Project. It's similar to ratemds.com, and if you've been to a corrupt family court or woke school, you can now report terrible judges, teachers, caseworkers, and therapists on the Family Law Accountability Project. It helps you figure out which lawyers and educational institutions to avoid too. And by leaving a review, you help others having their academic or financial life wrecked by wokesters. What are you waiting for? Sponsor link is down below. And now on with the show.
Hey guys, back here again with Michael Santonato, and today we're talking about multiple tech revolutions and what it means to the economy. So, Mike, what's going on?
And first, I want to say, thank you for everyone who's been subscribing and who's been commenting and liking the videos. These are really awesome. I really appreciate it. I think it's so cool the way the channel's growing super fast and quick, and I'm just thrilled about it.
Yeah,
That's what's
it's
going
it's
on.
crazy. Like we're already up in the multiple hundreds, but that's good. Yeah. So if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. So anyway, the topic, this kind of came up about for me about 6 months to a year ago. I was thinking about what it was like living at the in the early 20th century. So you had electricity, indoor plumbing, automobiles, radio, television, air travel, and all of this kind of coming up in the early 20th century. And all of a sudden, people went from, horse and buggy shoveling horse manure in the streets of New York and using outhouses in their backyard to now having automobiles and having indoor plumbing. So now sanitation was like so much better. So
Yeah.
now today it's like we're living in 1900, and now all of these new technological revolutions are about to change our way of living in ways we can't even imagine yet. So
100%.
so like the first one I think, like everyone is seeing recently has been AI. And what people aren't really thinking about is how AI is going to impact medicine. So you get medicines that are going to be creating, like the AI is going to create designer drugs. So just imagine it's going to take your genome, it's going to map your genome, and then it's going to say, okay, these are the drugs that we can create to help you with this condition. Maybe you've got acid reflux or something. And then
Right.
we know that these drugs were going to cause these types of side effects. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a drug that's specifically designed for you. So you'll go to the pharmacist, and it won't be just a guy selling you random pills. It'll be a pill specifically tailored to your genetics, to your condition, and to avoid as many of the side effects as possible in treating that condition.
Dude,
So
that's really powerful. Like custom ordered pharmaceuticals.
yeah, so that's where we're heading, and also it's also working with antibiotics. So right now, medicine is working with like researchers are using AI to help them create drugs that are ahead of the bacteria. So bacteria evolves to get ahead of our defense mechanisms, our immune system. But
Yeah.
imagine now we don't just have an immune system inside of us, but we also have an AI immune system, which is now 10 times faster than the bacteria, 100 times faster. The bacteria is going to get eradicated quickly because it has no chance because technology evolves so much faster than the bacteria.
Wow.
So we could
Dude,
keep.
yeah, man, this is really blowing my mind. What I'm prison to right now is how geeks taking over the world like they predicted back in the 70s and the 80s, and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates being right about everything, and Bill Gates being the ultimate winner and having the ultimate revenge on his bullies because he geeked out and he's taken over the world. And I'm reminded of how Microsoft created a new material using AI. They gave this AI this problem to solve in the matter of a few minutes. It might have been you that told me
The
about this.
materials, yeah, that creates all the different types of thousands of materials.
Yeah, they created two new materials that will save on energy and costs and pollution and all these things like in the matter of minutes. And who owns the new material and the formula to create the new material? Microsoft. So now Microsoft can be in every friggin' industry it wants. It's not normally in the material processing industry, but guess what? Now it gets to be. And they can hire a subcontractor to do the work or it can create its whole brand new manufacturing team and company if it wants under Microsoft.
What people don't realize is, the reason I'm bringing AI first is because AI is going to revolutionize every industry. So
That's right.
every means of production, every system of distribution, everything is going to change with AI. So, and AI is going to drive all of the other things below it. So, accounting, you're going to have, accounting jobs are going to disappear as AI takes them over. Same thing with
That's
finance
right.
jobs,
Yep.
self-driving cars. So, you can talk about self-driving cars. In a sense, a self-driving car is a robot because it's moving around, it's doing things. But the
Yep.
AI is at the heart of that robot. So all of these revolutions that we're about to face and experience they all have AI at the core of them. Just like electricity was required for air travel, because until you had electricity, you couldn't smelt aluminum in quantities that were large enough to build light planes to fly, right?
Exactly.
You,
Wow.
you couldn't have
Very.
radio until you had electricity. You
That's right.
couldn't have cars because you needed a battery for the starter until you had electricity. And even then,
Yeah.
the early cars in the early 20th century, a lot of them were battery powered back then.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
batteries were horrible, but they were battery powered.
Yeah.
So television, same thing, right? Like all of these things, the electricity at the heart of everything powered them. And this time, these
That's right.
multiple tech revolutions, the AI at the heart of it is going to power everything.
And you couldn't have TV or television or cable until you had radio because it needed to transmit that wireless signal to the antennas. Back when we had the antenna receiver, the huge box brick, tube TVs, they needed to transmit through the radio waves. You couldn't have Wi-Fi until you had radio because that was the first form of wireless transmission, right?
Well,
It's like,
the photon guns, like the CRT TVs, they were actually, the CRT is interesting. It was invented by a farmer in Utah. He invented the television, and so what he did was, because what the way it works is it shoots the photon gun at the back of the tube shoots from left to right, from the top to bottom. So it shoots
mhm.
and it shoots the signal so many times so quickly that it ends up creating that image in the tube, right? So he was
Ah,
plowing the field, and he was plowing fields from like one side to the other across, and then that's where he got the idea for the television.
what? Dude, a farmer got the idea for a television?
Yeah, there's on my travel channel on Cool Buildings with a K, uh, Philo Farnsworth. That was the name. I think it was him, or there was another guy. Philo Farnsworth was one of them, and they kind of simultaneously at the same time like invented the primitive technology for tube televisions. This is back in the 20s, or like teens or in 20s. So again,
Yeah,
you couldn't have any of these revolutions without electricity. So
right.
yeah, so
and
in
they and they all what I'm present to is that they all stack on top of one another and they all continue to like reap the benefits of all the previous ones. But
but
all the previous ones are necessary for the future ones.
what happens is with every industrial revolution, you have one thing that's created that is a catalyst for all the others. So when you had the first industrial revolution with the steam engine, because they needed a
Right.
way to pump water out of mines to get like material out of the mines. So once they created the steam engine to pump water out, they like, wait a minute, we could put this on a train. And then they put that on a train. And they're like, wait a minute, we could use this to power machinery in a factory. So like that one technology, wood, coal burning, steam power locomotives, like that one thing, that steam machine was at the heart of everything.
Hmm.
And then
Incredible.
once that changed over, like I said, to electricity, but to some extent we're using also oil and electricity kind of have fueled the 20th century and early 21st century. So
Yeah.
like especially when it comes to feedstock for materials. But anyway, so yeah, we're also going to see things like AI replacing family doctors and radiologists, because it's just going to be more efficient. You're going to get better tailor-made drugs. You're going to get better doctors that have good bedside manners. You're going to get radiologist technology that's going to find your cancer before it happens. What they've actually been able to do is they've actually been able to program AI to take, like, say, a mammogram of a woman's breast, and it actually looks at the structure and it can predict where and when the cancer is going to form. So imagine going in for a full body MRI, and the AI scans your body after you get the MRI, and it says, in 3 years you're going to get liver cancer right there. So we better like
That's
so
holy jeez. You better
so
start changing your diet right now.
yes, and then we're going to have to monitor this because like it could form in 3 years, and then you'll go get your MRI every like 3-4 months, and it'll start to see it form or not form, right? So
Right.
because
And then you can probably also add other inputs like how often you exercise or how much, how often you eat fatty foods or whatever.
yeah,
That
like
might change the
what, or
algorithm and
like
the
imagine
prediction.
like what are you going to look like if you lift this much weight every day, and then your body type shows up, right? Like,
Oh, dude.
and the
Whoa.
AI will map
Whoa.
out your genome and say, okay, like if you do this much exercise, your muscles are going to get ripped like this, right? Or like,
That's incredible.
so people
And
will,
and it'll even show you a video of you and actually of you if you give it your face and your current body. It'll be like your body, like where your hair is on your stomach, where your hair is on your chest.
yeah,
It'll look like you. So it'll make creative visualization a whole different ballgame.
yeah.
And
So that's going to motivate people to work harder, or maybe not motivate them, because if you see yourself like that, you're going to be like, well, I look pretty good in a dream, so I'm not going to bother working that hard to look good.
yeah, that's funny. It'll also motivate some people because it'll be like, all I have to do is this, and then I get that. I'm in. Like I could see gyms absolutely adopting this as a sales training tool for them to join their gyms because here's you, and then here's you actually with coming to our gym. Because if you could see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, right? If you can
Well,
paint the picture or get the image, the person to imagine, then they'll take ownership of it that much more.
Well, another really interesting thing is like when we created machines to do the farming labor for us, we
Right.
stopped being as physical as we are. So we got fat and lazy. So with AI, we're going to stop thinking. So this is going to be a real danger. So like
Oh
people,
my God, dude. Oh no, that hurts. That's so unpleasant to think
well,
about.
can you even think anymore? Like it'll just be it'll take your ability to think away.
It's like I said on that other video we did with the whole Wall-E. I talked about that movie Wall-E on the Disney movie because that scene where he does go and find the humans, they're all fat, obese, huge, and these chairs do everything for them. The chair is their iPad, is their cell phone, is their video tool, is their newspaper. It's everything.
Yep. So
They're just fat and lazy on the chair.
but
So
go ahead.
let's talk about 3D printing because you shared with me on our other video, which everyone has to watch about the space economy. You told me about that rocket company that's 3D printing rockets. I went up and
Relativity
looked it up.
relativity
Yeah,
space.
yeah, relativity space. I went and looked it up afterwards, and I was like, this is so incredible. They're making SpaceX even like
Yeah,
look
SpaceX
bad
looks obsolete. Yes.
because their costs are so low because they're 3D printing rockets. So talk about 3D printing. Like that, what about that as a
So
tech
airlines have
revolution?
been using this for a while now. So what would happen is they would have a part, like say, whatever part for a plane. And what they would do is they would ask the AI to design the airplane part with the least amount of materials required to build the part with, but to have the highest structural integrity.
Okay.
Right? So the part was more like it was like 60% of the materials that a human design part would use. Not only that, but it was like 3 times stronger than the human part. So you're not only losing the designer, the aviation designer for the part, but you're also the miner who's digging up the material. We don't need as much material because the miners, like they're using 60% of the material from before. So that's
Yeah.
40% of the material like not being used. Then
Mm,
you're not using the tool and die person. You're using a 3D printer to create it. So
right.
all these jobs are just going to disappear.
Wow.
But with
Wow.
all of those efficiencies, you're going to be able to do so much more. Now, the reason SpaceX has been getting away with what they're doing is because, again, for the most part, rockets are handmade. But the problem is when you build
Right.
a rocket, if you're Russia or China, you build it, you launch it, it's garbage, right?
Right.
But now the SpaceX is building them by hand, but they're going to reuse them. But imagine
Hmm.
now you're just 3D printing and you're reusing. So
Man.
now you're adding efficiency on efficiency.
Yeah. It's really the name of the game. I really feel like efficiency is the name of the game from this conversation, like optimization cost efficiency and just production efficiencies is the name of the game.
Well, just think if they print the rocket and it's out of fiber carbon, then they can get the weight down by like 80 or 90%. Right. So
Hmm.
imagine you get the weight down, like airplanes. Like, I'd flown to Europe for the first time in a long time, and I was on a Boeing airplane. It was a newer Boeing plane, and it was all fiber composites. And they actually upped the speed and increased the fuel efficiency. And I think like 40 or 50 or I can't remember, a huge chunk of the materials on the plane are like fiber carbon. So,
Wow, wow. And you got there faster, and hopefully the cost of the flight was different.
well, the cost was
Uh,
cheaper because it's using less fuel, right?
the cost
So,
for them, but they didn't change the price for
no,
you,
the
probably.
price was the same. Like I still paid like $1,100. It was still pretty cheap to fly
Yes.
to Europe.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, air travel has been, people are like, air travel's gone up. I'm like, no, it hasn't. Like, I remember in 2004, I paid $350 to fly from Buffalo to Las Vegas with
Hmm.
like a stopover. I could
Yeah.
pay the same price today from Toronto to Las Vegas. So what is going on? Why are planes, why are the airline tickets costing the same amount? It's because of all these innovations that they've had in terms of like weight and in terms of, you don't have, you're not going to get your bag checked in, so you're going to save money on that. That's going to save weight, and that's going to make the plane ticket cheaper.
I think the plane ticket prices, well, for Toronto, this is the stupid thing is we pay stupid ass amounts in taxes whenever we fly anywhere. Like the tax is a large portion of the cost of the overall flight. So I wish and I hope that for something in Toronto there is some kind of revolution or some kind of tax, cut or change because they just keep adding on fees and
Well,
fees and fees,
what
security fees and airport fees and
But what's going to happen
you
is
know,
what happens with short haul flights when AI creates self driving vehicles that take you from Toronto to New York in 8 hours while you're sleeping. It's
yes,
over. You won't need the airports. So the amount
love it.
planes will be continental. They're not going to be something that's going to be regional. And
Right. So the small carriers will go away, like you said.
so part of these multiple revolutions is you're going to see space, you're going to see light transit, rapid transit, you're going to see self-driving vehicles. That's part of the transportation revolution that we're going to see right now. But there's
Yeah.
other things that we need to talk about, like tokenization and blockchain technologies. So that's the end of the banks. That's the end of the central banks. That's the end of, the people that have basically been controlling currency and money this whole time. They're going to lose their power. And,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I don't think it's the end. See, I disagree with you, and I'm happy to disagree with you because I like stimulating thought. I think that thinking is the most important thing that we can do. It's the most important activity. So, I think that it's not going to disappear. It's just going to change because those who have power love power, and power is a very addictive thing. And there's this great quote, what do all men with power want? More power. That was from the Matrix, right? That was the Oracle from the Matrix. So I think thinking is the most important work to do. And so I don't think that these banks, which are the most powerful organizations on the planet, will go away. I think they'll just change. XRP just announced just yesterday that they're going to put a stable coin on the XRP ledger, which is the XRP blockchain. And by the way, banks created XRP. They own
Yeah.
XRP. So it's not that they're going to go away. They're just going to change. They love their power. They love their profits. And these organizations, that's why inflation is so crazy and homelessness is rampant across the world, even here in Toronto. It's increased more than I can remember before I left to travel abroad during COVID. People are going to be homeless and more homeless because the prices are going to stay the same or go higher. Inflation doesn't go away. It's a tax on the poor. And the poor are the unproductive ones. So people that are unproductive, that are not adapting, they will be homeless. They will lose the jobs, yes. But jobs will still be available. Like these industries just create new jobs. These technologies just create new
Yeah. But
jobs.
the
That's why to be financially indestructible for all the viewers and listeners, you have to be able to pivot, move with the times, and continue to grow your skills because skills is what gets you paid.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But the problem is we're living in a world where you need IQ of at least 110, 120, 130 to be able to compete. And like, what are
Good,
you going to do? What? The,
good. I said good. That's good because the strongest survive. Period.
but that's good for
It's
you
not.
and me, but it's not good for the majority of society. And then once you have enough people not being able to get jobs, then you're going to end up with social problems. You're going to
You're going to
have
have
the so,
UBI. Yeah,
well,
you're going to
but
have UBI, universal basic income. You're going to have socialism, and you're going to have revolutions, and you're going to have communism, and you're going to have people upset and pissed off, and you're going to have the fat, lazy people that are lethargic, that don't want to do anything, that don't want to adapt, that don't
no, no,
see the opportunity.
but the
You
thing
and I
is,
see the
but
opportunity.
this
That's why
is
we're talking.
these revolutions are going to, like, if you read Sam Altman's paper, he talks about there being so much abundance because everything is going to
Yes,
be virtually free that
right.
people will have every material need taken care of. And then there's that famous line from Westworld where the man in black says, the world outside is a world of plenty, but people are missing one thing: purpose. So all these revolutions are going to do is take away people's purpose. So they're going to have to find a new purpose. So what will
You know
that be?
what? Yeah, you're exactly right. We're going to have to, people are going to have to adapt and find a new purpose. You're absolutely right. And I can relate to that because when I got my divorce, I lost my purpose. I lost my sense of myself and my sense of my purpose because my purpose was my family. I had a family, right? I had a wife, a home, family, kids. And when I got my divorce, I lost that. And it took me 2 years pretty much to get through that, get over that, and find a new purpose. I knew there were going to be problems with the divorce and complications and a lull, if you will, in my life. But I didn't know that I would need to fucking find a new purpose, man. And so you're exactly right. Like as things happen and as things change, we need to find a new purpose.
Well,
And
the
that's up to the individual to do it.
yeah, 90% of men find purpose in family and relationships, and then there's a small portion of men. I'd guess around 10%. I don't know. Like I don't really know what the breakdown is, but that's me. And the moment I was free of relationships entirely, I could run. I felt like I could actually accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish. Some people get
Yeah,
charged up by being that horse pulling the plow, and they're like so happy they're pulling the plow, and that's the majority of men. And then,
right.
but a few brave men are like, no, I'm the stallion. I'm going to run through the plains free, right? And that's
Yes.
nothing's going to stop me, right? So, in speaking of another revolution, like what I want to get started eventually is the lover bot revolution. So creating
Lover bot.
lover bots. Yeah. So if you've ever watched the film Cherry 2000, the main character, he basically doesn't have a relationship. He has a robot that he has a relationship with, and the robot gets damaged, and he has to go find a replacement for it. And so what's going to happen is you're going to start to see like males choosing to sleep with robots instead of with real life women. And so
Yeah.
that's going to cause a massive upheaval in our society, specifically women, because women thrive on male attention. So if once you start taking the male attention away, you're going to start seeing. Oh, I'm getting some feedback.
I
Oh,
am sorry, I'm searching for something. Keep going because I'm looking for something. You've totally inspired me to find something online. So I'm doing a quick search right now, but keep going.
so it's look, 90% of the consumer, 85-90% of the consumer choices in our economy are based off of women choosing, making the consumer decisions. So what
Right.
happens when men don't need women for relationships anymore? Like, you remember that movie Her that came out like a while back, but imagine her with an android body. Why would the
Right.
guy ever have a real relationship ever again? And the AI will know him better than a real woman will. It won't nag him. It won't cause him pain in his life. It won't
Yes.
it won't cause any of the drama. And remember, for women, they said, they asked this one woman a question. They asked a lot of women this question. They said, like, what leads you to leave a guy? And they say, well, I getting everything I want. Because
Hmm.
women when they get bored in a relationship, they don't just get bored because the relationship is bad. They get bored when the relationship is good. What they really want is the drama that comes from parts of the relationship not functioning properly.
Right. Yeah,
So,
they want the benefit of variety. They need variety.
yeah, they need like success and failure. They need positivity and negativity. And the guy's
Yeah.
just like, I want to keep things positive and smooth, and then she riles up the boat and causes emotional waves. And
That's like Latin women love drama, love to stir the boat. They
yeah,
they 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 watch these telenovelas. They're basically soap operas, and I swear they like pretty much equally behave the same way.
So, like, what's going to happen is women are going to price themselves out of the market with the drama, and men are just going to go to technology. So here's another thing that priced itself out of the market. Right now, there's a $20 minimum wage in California in like fast food restaurants. They've just implemented this.
Right.
And so that's only going to accelerate the revolution. Like fast food chains are now laying people off and they're going to start automating like crazy. And then once they automate in California, they're going to spread that automation to all the other states. And then
That's right.
the unions that fought for these rights are all going to be memberless because now robots are going to be driving and cooking and cleaning the floors in restaurants. And you already go into a restaurant and you're basically forced to check in on your own or order from a tablet or a giant TV screen.
That's
So
right.
it's just going to get worse and worse. And so robots as self-driving vehicles are going to disrupt hotels, motels, regional airline businesses, highway workers. You're also going to
Yep.
get less roads being built because the ones we do have are going to be more efficient. Warfare. We're already seeing drone warfare between Russia and Ukraine. So imagine eventually having fully autonomous robotic armies, something like out of Terminator. Two
That's
Terminator
exactly
armies.
like Terminator. Yeah,
But
the robots coming over the hill blasting each other with lasers.
yeah, so but that it won't even be that it won't even be on that level. Like one side might have better abilities to put AI viruses in through to basically take over the other side's robots to have them fight the other side for them. So
Man, isn't that crazy? Not, and then you'll just have humans at home getting fat and lazy watching Netflix and YouTube.
not being able to think anymore. Yeah, it's insane.
Or fight. Never mind. Yeah, fight and think. And everybody needs to stop and like this. You need to pause and just like this video right now and share it with a friend because Sandman just outlined the roadmap of escalation of how the simple obsolescence of jobs will take place
And then
through
you get
AI.
AR and VR, right? So you get people putting on AR and VR glasses, augmenting the reality. So they walk down the street and everything, all the ads are being flashed on the buildings. Imagine you're in a relationship and you want to spice things up with your wife and she's 50, 60 years old and looks like she's had much better days in the past. And what you want to do is you want to make her look 20. So what you do is you just put on an de-aging filter in your goggles, your VR glasses, and now she looks like she's 20 again, or she looks like a completely different person,
And
right?
you think you're with the same woman, but in reality, the
Yeah,
woman over there on the
and she's
armchair is
looking
totally
and
different.
she's looking down at you, and you look like The Rock, right? And you think
Oh my
that
God. And all I have to do is my best rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson impersonation voice, and we're good to go.
yeah, you just got to raise the eyebrow just right.
And we could
Come
just
on, raise
shut
the eyebrow. No, you don't know it.
up. That's hard to do.
It is.
We could just straddle each other in our VR imaginary worlds as we get fat in the real world. Not where I'm going, by the way. Fitness and health is very important as correlated to performance and happiness. So I'll
Well,
take that route.
think of this, like that technology is also gonna, like AI technology at the heart of this is gonna turbocharge like your spicy content consumption because now it'll be able to take the amalgam of all of the most attractive women that you find that hold your attention of your eye and create virtual women that have all the best qualities of what you want. So you're going to fall in love with this person that doesn't exist that AI is going to create for you.
Dude,
And
this
then
is so
and then
outrageous. Like,
you can order the robot of the person you just fell in love with. It'll come like from
oh
Amazon in
my
the
God.
afternoon, right? So you can
Custom built.
yeah, and you're like opening your door, you're like you like beat the delivery man, you grab your robot, and you run back in the house because you're going crazy, right? You just can't take it anymore.
Oh my gosh. This is
Or
frying
better
my
yet,
brain
she'll just walk up to the door and ring the doorbell, right? You won't
she
even.
yeah, she's the delivery person.
Yes, she's just wearing the delivery uniform, and you got to like rip it off as quickly as possible.
Dude, this is hurting my brain because I know that my dopamine receptors are like really liking this, but the logical, rational part of me that knows that this comes with major consequences is like red alert, stay away from this. Too
Well,
good to be true. Bad news, bad news.
well, then we're going to need another revolution, which is the reproductive revolution. So, because of all the consequences of people just feeding dopamine from as much sexual stimulation as they can, we're going to need to reproduce in a new way. So, we're going to have to ask the AI to create artificial wombs. That's going to have to happen. And then imagine you having a kid and you're like, I don't even want to raise the kid myself. I'm gonna order this kid. I'm gonna have an android female raise the kid, and I'm gonna pay for the eggs and the sperm, and I'm gonna get everything screened ahead of time. And so I won't even meet the kid. The kid will like meet my android replica of me, and then when the kid is like 10 years old, it'll meet the real version of me, right? So
I'm gonna vomit this
or
video. We
or
need
you
to stop. I'm
or
gonna
you could
vomit.
be a person that's, you could be like 90 years old on your deathbed, and then you can like create a copy of your clone, right? And then just like download all of your experiences and all of your not mental experience, but all of the things that you've ever done in your life, and have it somehow transfer. Like, have you seen Neuralink? Have you seen the bio mechanical Elon's thing? There's a guy who's playing video games with his mind. He just sits there and he thinks about what he wants to do, and it plays the video game.
I know there's a video, I haven't seen it yet, of like a guy in a wheelchair who's
Yes,
already
that's the
talking
one.
about how
Yeah.
Neuralink is changing his life. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
one?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked. I tell you what, I'm gonna vomit, so we need to end this video, but not
But
before we
but just
we
one. But I got to tell you about the guy in the video.
mention.
So the guy in the
Okay,
video.
yeah,
So people are like, when they started the Neuralink, animals died because they were doing all these crazy tests. So how it
yeah.
works now is they drill a small tiny incision, and they put this thing in, and it's really really tiny. It's like the size of, I don't know, like I can't, maybe like
A nickel, a dime,
small, like really even smaller. That's too big. It's tiny,
like a
tiny.
pea, a
Yeah,
pea,
like
like a
even
green pea.
smaller than a pea, maybe a third or a
What?
quarter of a pea, and they put it and they connect it to your brain and the top, and then they shut you back up, so there's no infection, there's no cables hanging out of your head, right? And then
Okay,
it's connected through Wi-Fi, and then you charge it wirelessly. You put like a charger at the back of your head, and it charges up so that the
of
battery
course,
inside is charged.
of
And
course.
then, so there's no mess, right? So it's only a matter of time before people voluntarily choose these things, because now you won't have to like operate things with a keyboard or a mouse. You'll just like sit there and look at screens, and shit will just get itself done.
You just need one of these plugged in the back of your head, plugged
No
into a
plugs.
little
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no. So like that's coming too. So just think of all of these things that are coming. Like, we won't even recognize this planet in another 10 or 20 years. It's going to look
That's
so
the
bizarre.
that's the other thing, is that it's definitely going to change quicker than we realize. It's really only probably going to be 5 to 10 years, because there's this, I don't know what the name of the theory is, but there's the theory that, like the amount of information you could have stored back when you were in the prehistoric time, it took this much space to store all the information at that prehistoric time. Now we're all the way over here in the 2000s, and it takes, like, all of the internet was the weight of a strawberry, you know what I mean? Like 10 years ago.
Well, it's
So
exponential, right?
yeah, it's exponential. So the amount of data that can be fit into a smaller space is much higher. What I wanna end with, and really come back to kind of full circle, is that change is absolutely inevitable. And unless you want to be a vegetable that we've been talking about, then you need to keep up with the change. And thinking is the most important work, the hardest work there is to do, I think it was Albert Schweitzer, who's a great doctor from a long time ago, said, thinking is the hardest work, and men don't do it because it's the hardest, but that's the most important work there is to do. And then the other thing I want to touch on is Henry Ford. He's come to mind a number of times in this video because he was the father of a lot of, obviously, modern automation and the automotive world. But also he has this amazing quote, which I love, which is, he said, if I had asked people what they would have wanted, they would have said faster horses,
Exactly.
right? Meaning that you have to keep up. If you have an idea, ladies and gentlemen, listening to this video right now, if you have an idea for an innovation or something to advance and engineer humanity, you've got to take that and run with it, and have the faith and trust that this is your destiny and this is what the market and the people need, because people don't know what they want. We weren't ready for the iPod. We weren't ready for the iPad, the touch screen, the iPhone. We weren't ready for these things. But these great thinkers and people and innovators, they just pushed them through anyway, because they knew that that's what the fuck was up, that was what
I
was
I
needed, that
I
that's
think
next.
I think people know what they want, but only when they see it. They can't imagine what they want.
Exactly. You're very right. Yeah, and that's why imagination is more important than knowledge. I think Einstein said that.
Well,
Imagination is more important than knowledge.
yeah. So it's what's interesting is you're going to see a lot of people that succeed in this coming world are the people that are going to think outside the box, because the AI is not necessarily going to think outside the box. Although There was a game that they got the AI to play, and it was coming up with novel moves that humans had never come up with before. So we may get to the point where AI becomes more novel and creative than us and knows us better. Like imagine, I was talking about those movies. AI would create tailor-made content, movies specifically for you, knowing all of the things that you enjoy in a story.
Oh man, that's wild.
So it wouldn't just be like we're going to create this mass content. No, we're heading for a world where every one of these revolutions is going to be tailor made for you. So it's going to make clothes for you. It's going to make shows for you. It's going to make drugs for you. It's going to so it's it you're the market. The one individual is the market.
Wow. That takes customization to a whole radical new level that we've never been in before. It's like you're going to have a completely, utterly customized world that's totally catered to you.
Your
And it
social
doesn't have to be,
interactions with with
yeah,
with
it
everything.
doesn't have to be digital. It can be physical too. It can be in the physical real world.
Everything, digital and physical.
Mind blowing. Subscribe and like this
All
video.
right.
Tell us what did you like in the comments? What's the best part of the video? Subscribe and like this mother because it's incredible.
All right, man. Talk to you later.